and away you go, sir.
Okay. Hey everyone, my name's Steven, obviously you heard, and the name of my brewery is Oranje Son Brewing. And yes, I opened in my garage. I don't have any notes or slides or anything like that. I'm just going to ramble on about a little bit about myself and opening the brewery. I myself have been brewing for about 6 years, or maybe closer to 7 now. But my fascination with brewing started like more than 20 years ago. It was when my friend first gave me a cream one, and I was just drinking commercial beer at the time, and it was just like, wow, this is amazing. So went out, bought a kit, said I got to try and make this stuff because it's pretty cool, and it was absolutely horrible. But I always wondered about what went wrong, but I never really did anything with it. Other interests peaked or were more in my line when I was in my early 20s, like snowmobiling, ATV, and stuff like that. But then 6 years ago, I was out on a trip up north and wandered into Lake of Bays Brewing, and I hadn't been in a brewery since I first started, like when I first brewed, like 20 years ago. And I was just fascinated. It was slow, so they brought me right into the brewery, gave me a tour, met the brewmaster, and it just like reignited the fascination I had when I was 20, when I was visiting places like Creamer was one of them, but there was Allura, Niagara Falls. I think there was only like 6 or 8 breweries in Ontario at the time. And I thought, I got to try this again. So I bought another kit, but since then, the internet exploded with all the information, and I learned basically how to do it right this time. Started with extract, did a couple partial mashes, and they were decent. They were drinkable. They weren't great. And then I decided, okay, let's scale up, do all grain. And that first beer was just amazing. Shared it with my friends. They couldn't believe it was homebrew, and said, okay, this is, I just loved it. It was fun. And then as the years went on, I was just making more and more and more and sharing it with friends, family, neighbors. And I wanted to get into the industry. But it's really ridiculously expensive. Everyone probably here knows that. And also I had come to a realization. It's like, what do I want to do? Do I want to be a production? Do I want a tap room? Do I want whatever, like, size? And I knew that just because of my life circumstances at the time, I have a young daughter, I'm a single dad, parent. I knew opening a full-scale brewery would be not feasible, because my ultimate goal would be to have just something like a 5 hectoliter max system and a tap room. I want to serve a small local town where I'm at. But because my daughter's still fairly young, starting a brewery would just require so much time. I wouldn't see her. I'd be in the tap room serving drinks. Due to the size that I want to do, I'm going to be the one in the trenches doing 99% of the work. So I said, what's the next best option? Let's start in my garage. That prompted me. It's like, okay, has anybody done this before? At the time, I think there was 2 guys in Ottawa, Evergreen Craft Ales and Conspiracy Theory. I never really reached out to them. I just followed them on social media and saw what they were doing and said, hey, I can do this. If they can do it, I can do it. Their systems or their setups were a little, well, it just didn't seem to me, from my standpoint, very customer friendly. It's just, they were just your basic bare bones bare stud wall places, and the pictures that I saw just looked like your typical homebrewer's mess of everything. And I wanted to do something right. So, or not right, but like something that's, when people come in, they're going to appreciate it. So that's why I settled on working in my garage, which most of the work was already done just for my brew space. And that just, because I wanted to make that step, and I knew it could be done, I just said, okay, well, what's going to stop me from doing this? I know the AGCO will give me my license, the excise license will give me a license because it's been done in Ontario. The only thing that would stop me would be the municipality. So how I did it was, I came up with my own business proposal, talked to the tourism and economic development of Haldeman, where I live, showed them my proposal of what I wanted to do. They had a bunch of questions, size, how much I'm going to make, whether I'd be serving alcohol. And I told them I don't want people drinking at my place. I'm just going to be selling cans to go. And the system that I had built and designed was only max 500 liters I could produce a month. So they just did calculations on foot traffic. That's where they're concerned with it. So they said they just loved the idea. They thought it was cool. They wanted this to happen. So they said, we're going to find out how we can do this because they just think it'd be a good idea. There's some back and forth between hydro usage, wastewater, just a whole bunch of questions that they had. And once they said, yeah, okay, we'll put it under home-based business bylaw. I didn't get it in writing, which thankfully I lucked out on, because eventually somebody could have said no at a certain point when I got further deeper into actually making it happen. Once I had their verbal approval, or at least an email, then I made my application to the AGCO and to CRA to get my excise license. That step was just a lot of paperwork. That was fairly easy, but a lot to do. Things like just mailing letters to churches and schools saying I'm opening a store, if you got a complaint, getting my beer tested from the LCBO labs to make sure nothing's bad in it. There's a whole bunch of various steps that they asked for. That's from the AGCO. And the CRA, when it comes to excise, it's just brewery layout and volume sizes. And also getting bonded, stuff like that. It was basically a check every box off. It took me about a year to do all of that they asked for, but it was more like every week I took a day of my week to just knock off one of the things. It's like, okay, this week, okay, I need to find out insurance. This week, the next week I had to do, okay, I had to write my letters in. And then each week I would just progress that way. The only hiccups that I had coming near the end, going back to like getting things in writing, I did have to get written permission. There was a special form filled out for the AGCO for municipal retail authorization. And then I just had one person saying, yeah, it's a good idea with this bylaw. So it could have got squashed there when I was already like thousands of dollars in paying stuff into it, just in fees. But they signed away on it. So they kept on their word on it. And then the next major possible disaster was getting insurance. There was, I had to get a commercial insurance, but then I had canceled my home insurance to get it under the same company, but still a split policy. But because of this, because I had been already doing this, my current insurer basically said, yeah, we're canceling your insurance if you have a claim, because they knew I was going to put a brewery in and had a already taken steps to build it, where it was actually built by then. They were basically going to walk away from any insurance claim because I didn't have insurance for the brewery, or didn't let them know that it was there. But in the end, I got a new provider, everything worked out, and I was able to open up my doors. I don't know what else to say.
I think, you know, I'm just talking from listening to you here, Stephen, but it sounds like there's a lot of hoops to jump through, but you were willing to jump through them to get this off the ground, right? And I think that, to me, that tells me, number one, how passionate you are about it, but also that you're seeing it through, right? Especially when it comes to things like losing house insurance, and because it's not as simple as just having a space where you can walk away and, you know, go to your brewery off site. It's there, you know.
Well, it is a lot of work, like to get going or to get it started, but it's just something like, because my day job is I'm self-employed as well, so I work for myself. So it's nothing new starting something, a company.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, if you want something done, you got to do it yourself. Like if it's, nobody's going to lift a finger. Like I had a ton of help in information. Like there's countless brewers that I talked to, and companies that are in the business that gave me a mountain of information on how to proceed. But in the end, whoever's starting it, you have to do it. You got to do the footwork. And that's like what I mentioned, is like I just picked one thing at a time. Okay, see what's in front of me, pick the one thing. So you, at times when you first see the application and process and what y'all have to do, it's like it's overwhelming, but you just break it down and say, okay, one step at the next, and it's okay, I got to get this, then I got to get that, and then okay, I'm waiting for my excise license because that's got to get filled with the HECO, and then the next step, and it's just some of them build on the one to the next. But after I went through it all, it wasn't really that hard. It's just, it's work, but anybody could do it. Like it's not like I'm smarter than anybody else. The information's all there. It's like you just go to the website, and if you got a question even from the AGCO, it's like they're not going to hide from you and make it difficult. They'll say, okay, yeah, I had questions, and they answered them. So it's, yeah, that's all on the starting end of things.
Yeah.
Now that I'm open, it's still, it's a lot of, it's even more work keeping it going and working your own job at the same time. But thankful, because I work for myself, I do heating and air conditioning. So I do some service, some installation work, but I can pick brew days or whenever I have to work in the brewery and just say, it's like, hey, that's my day doing beer. It's like, okay, I got a couple tanks empty, so tomorrow I'm going to brew. It might be in the middle of the week. I just schedule my own. I treat it like another customer, so to speak. I can't imagine someone working a 9-to-5 job that they have to be at Monday to Friday and doing this at the same time. The biggest advantage I had was originally working for myself and making my own hours.
Sorry, David, I see you got your hand up. So.
Yeah, really interesting background. In terms of getting all the approvals and the licenses, can you talk about any on-site inspections you had to do with either for any various levels of the approval that you had to get, assuming that was part of it? And I'm also interested in the reaction that any inspectors had when they walked in and they're like, this is a backyard garage brewery.
Well, there was only one inspection, but because of COVID, it was remote, so nobody actually walked in here. But the inspector, when he called me, they research you, so he found my Instagram account. He looked at all the pictures that I've been posting in my opening and things, what I'm planning on doing. So, and then he only asked for more pictures to clarify what he couldn't find online. And that was just for the retail authorization. They wanted to see what the place looked like, where I was selling the actual alcohol. They were concerned about the taps on the back of my wall here. They're saying because I don't have a by the glass permit or authorization, he was questioning, and I said, well, part of my garage or those taps, they were, I built that for myself because my garage was originally my brew space. So it wasn't much of a big, most of the investment into the brewery was already done because I made a huge elaborate brewery for my own uses. And it was not until, so then the taps there where it's like, okay, this was my man cave and they're still there. So I use them for filling growlers when people come in. But it's inspection wise, that was the only one. I think the CRA, they mentioned doing an inspection, but they said they didn't even ask any questions. I think it was just they wavered it because of COVID. But again, they did do their research of following on Facebook, social media, because there was comments, there are comments from them like prior to opening, or like as I was in my application process, they were red flagging me in a sense that they could tell, well, they couldn't tell that I wasn't selling alcohol, but they knew people were already getting it, like I was giving it away, or friends or family or whatever, because it's, yes, I sold, yeah. My neighbors would say, can I get a growler? And they dropped me $5. But they could see, even though I never posted I'm selling stuff, it's just they check you out kind of thing. But the volumes that I was doing and am doing, it's like, it's not worth their time. I did have, what is it? Because of the volumes that I like, there's certain requirements you have to report every month for AGCO, or sorry, your beer taxes and your excise taxes. But because my volumes are so low, even if I didn't report, I wouldn't get fined because it's not worth the paperwork for them to file. They already let me know that. So, any other question?
Yeah, Tilla, you had a question?
Yeah, just a couple of questions. First, like I stepped away for a minute for a phone call. Where is your brewery located, and how big? Like how much do you brew, and also what do you do with your grains? Just put it out in the green bin when the guy comes by, or what do you do?
Okay, my brewery is in my garage that is detached from the house, so it's a 20 by 30 garage.
Sorry, I mean, where are you located? Like whereabouts you located? Caledon, okay, because I wasn't sure where you are, because I'm in Whitby. Like, where is he? Okay, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, when it comes to my grains, I have a farmer that I give them to. So it's, yeah. Oh, and how much I make? It's like the most I can make on my system is 500 liters a month, if I'm doing probably just mostly ales. But it's I just recently got a couple more fermenters, so I could probably almost double that now.
So you will grow eventually, I guess. You will.
Yeah, my sales are increasing slowly. Even though it's winter, it's like they are still going up compared. Like I had a great summer when I opened last summer. Well, great summer, I can't compare it. Got nothing to compare it to, but sales were steady, and it was within my capacity.
Okay, good for you, and good luck, and hopefully we can swing by and get some beers from you. Excellent, good job.
There's a couple of questions in the chat, and Rob had asked if it was important to have that, if it was important when you're going through the permits and stuff like that, that the garage was detached from the house.
No, nobody's specified anything like that. They were, the questions that came up was wastewater, where's the water going?
Mhm.
Because they're concerned about yeast and whatever else that chemicals going down the drain. Because my garage is detached from the house, it's a lot of work because I have no floor drain. So that's one of the things that I like. When the garage, there's floor drain would be so much easier. I have to hand bomb anything that's waste out. If it's not clean enough that I can just let go on the grass. So that kind of gave them some reassurance that it's like, part of it was giving my beer to water ratios, like they're ridiculously low. Like I'm very conscious of how much water I use per liter. So, I think I'm using only like 2.5 liters to 1 liter brewing or produced. Might be 3. A typical brewery, I'm understanding it's like at least 6 or higher.
Must
We
be
also-
must be a brew house system.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, we also had a question regarding the local zoning bylaws, right? From Corey. He wanted to know if they dictate which type of business you can host at your house, and what might this business type be labeled as, I guess, from your local bylaw.
The local bylaw that they put it under was just the basic home-based business. There were certain requirements square footage wise that I had to has to be under. My retail space has to be X amount of size. There's the amount of people that can actually be here at any given time was a requirement. That was all under the existing home-based bylaw. This question comes up quite a lot when people ask, like, how did you do it? Because I've been approached by numerous homebrewers that want to do what I did, and their township is just flat out saying no. They don't want it. It's for any given reason. I don't know. They basically just keep getting stonewalled. And all I can say is I was lucky. It's just pure luck that the township agreed to it, and thinking it was a good idea. I know for sure if you live in a bigger city, much like Toronto, Hamilton, anywhere you're going to have a hard time, and probably chances are they'll say no. They won't even entertain the idea. I'm in a small town, and it's like more rural area. Even though I'm in town, I think the population here is only like 7,000 people. So it's just pure luck that I was able to do it.
Interesting. We had another couple questions. I know, Alan, you got your hand up. There was a request to, if it's possible, to take us on a tour of the brewery, if you can.
Just right here. It's not big. I just got to move the screen.
Yeah.
Actually, here, I'll just go to the entrance. If you follow me on social media, you'll see some pictures, but here's the outside.
Oh, nice.
So this door here, the whole thing, it moves out of the way so that when I'm not open, I can put my garage door down. And that way, when I'm not open, people driving by there, it's like there's no storefront, there's nothing here. So as you come in, let's see if I can turn this camera. There we go. Okay, so people come in. This is where my storefront is. People make their purchase here. My beer list is there, and a bunch of cans. There's all my brewing supplies I just picked up at BSG, so I'm stocked up. And then these are a couple new tanks that I got. They haven't been set in place yet. My taps. And then this is my brew stand. Hood above it. Things that I like to point out is I made an extra shield that encompasses the whole burners. And then I put little shields that cover this here edge, and then effectively make the whole pot a one big oven. That's all done in, like, it's all about efficiency, trying to maintain, keep my fuel costs down. It's like it speeds up my boil. That's the thing, is everything I've done is to speed up the process. If we scan across, this will be all of my fermenters here that are in use. Only one's full. I'll fill 2 tomorrow. And then my chiller. And then this is the back side of the door again. That stand there, that's just my canner and counter pressure filler for my can. And that's about it.
Did I see a propane tank there, Stephen? Is that your main heating method?
Oh, that there?
Oh no, sorry, the propane tank by your brew setup, your brew stand.
Oh, underneath, there's a propane tank, yes.
Yeah, so that's your main heating method.
Yeah, I use electric as well. That's where my controller or whatever, it's just a couple plugs there. I got two 30 amp 220 circuits. Right now I'm presently converting everything to electric. I had it all done ahead of time. I hadn't finished some of the controls in the event that somebody raised a flag, hey, you're using propane inside, you shouldn't be doing that. But nobody said anything, so I continued to use it, even though I got proper ventilation. Like that's my day job. It's like I do HVAC, so I know how much CFM I got to be moving for these burners and steam and everything. But I have electrical elements that I put in it. So I use both propane and electric to speed up the process. So the idea is, like, everything I do is to, like I said, to keep things as quick as possible. So I start my fly sparge and I'm just short of a boil as soon as my sparge is done. There's no waiting in time. It's like, okay, then I'm throwing my bittering hops as soon as the fly sparge ends, and away we go. Same with things like keeping things fast is down here. Got 2 chillers in series, and I use that splits, so I pre-chill the first one and the second one before it comes out. Then I'll chill probably 17 gallon or 16 gallons of wort in 8 minutes, kind of thing. So it works pretty quick.
Sorry, how often do you brew?
Almost every week.
Once a week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not like it fluctuates. But
Yeah, but average about once a week. Do once a week.
Yeah. Like I might do a double brew one week and not do any the next week, kind of thing.
Right. Okay.
Alan, I know you had your hand up, so I don't know if your question got asked or if.
Nope, not yet, but I was just waiting for the tour to happen.
Yeah.
It's always fun to see. Stephen and I are in the same hoser group, so I've seen this tour earlier when he first launched it, and it was after his opening, or just before your opening weekend, and it was fantastic. I've been out there a few times, so it's such a cool, inspiring experience, and something I'll never get with Hamilton, so something I have to live with. That's one of those municipalities that won't allow it. But Stephen, did you have to update your license though when you got those extra fermenters? Like, do you have to notify or tell anyone that you're doing that?
I have to look into that. I don't recall when I got my original license of them saying if you expand or make any changes, you have to let them know. When it comes to the township, it's like, again, when they said, oh, 400 or 500 liters a month is fine with them. that was just the very first conversation I had with them with my proposal. Nothing was written in anywhere saying how much I would produce. I think that from the township's point is they wouldn't be concerned until people complain. If there's a complaint, if there's too many people coming and going, then neighbors will start to say, hey, their streets clogged with traffic. I can't park my car. If people block driveways. So it's like, if people start being disrespectful in the neighborhood, then okay, I'm sure I'll hear something then, and then they'll start questioning. So, but anybody that comes in here loves it. They love the idea, and they want it to grow, kind of thing. So it's like they're on my side. So it's like they're so far I've been fortunate. 8 months into this, I haven't had a jerk come in the door, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, as long as you're not disturbing the public area, then I guess they don't really care, right? Don't find your cans all over the place, disrupting the flow of traffic, that type of thing.
It's funny, the people that come in, the most comical one where I probably should have said no, but I didn't bother, was it was a snowy day. The snow's coming down, and a guy comes in pushing a stroller. So he's got his very young child in there. And he said, oh yeah, I saw you're open, so I just wanted a traveler. So I sold him one can of beer. So he wanted to have a beer while he was walking his daughter or child in a stroller. So
I've done it.
As long as I don't see that nobody's fine, as long as you don't throw the can in the ground, kind of thing. It's
yeah. Not against a lot of stroll and drink, is it?
And like, do you have to have a really clear distinction between your garage and your house in terms of like whether it be equipment, materials, storage, that kind of thing? Like nothing can leave the garage and go into your own personal space?
There is rules under the AGCO of where alcohol can and can't be. So if I wanted to transport it, it's like I have to notify them. And I'm sure that moving it from my house to the garage, they probably want to know. But everything is pretty much self-contained in the brewery. But there's no reason for me to do anything in the house with it other than if I want to bring my own beer into the house that I'm going to the tap. Or it's like because I don't have, for the volume of size that I'm doing, I'm always doing starters. I'll get a pack of yeast and I'll put it on a starter to build it up to the volume that I need with do a 3-liter starter. Generally, if the yeast is fresh enough, a 3-liter starter is enough to do my full tank. So that's pretty much the only thing that gets done inside.
We also had another question about canning and how you manage it. We saw you had the canner there. Is it a large production line? Is it just it's like how many cans do you get? Are you able to punch out, put it that way?
It's I have a counter pressure filler. I can do 2 cans. It's semi-automated, so I basically have to put the cans in, hit a button, it pressurizes it, purges it, and fills it, and then it pops up, and then I'll take them out, put the lids on, and then go to the seamer, put them in manually or through the seamer. Excluding cleanup time and setup and cleaning everything up afterwards, if I'm straight canning from the time that I start to finish, I could probably punch out 120 cans in an hour. That's if I'm doing something that's not dry hop. They foam like crazy. So my IPAs, they take I probably would get maybe 70 cans an hour in an IPA, because it's just, by the time I dial in the machine, it's just okay, fine, it's done. On a larger setup, it's okay, once you've done, if you're doing thousands of cans, it's okay, yeah, you can dial in the machine to suit the beer, and away you go. It's set up, but because of the volume, by the time I get it set up for the IPA, I'm already filled all the cans. but usually a lager or something like that, it's just, it doesn't over foam or anything. It fills up and I just bang them right out.
Nice, nice. I know Eric had, I see, David, I see your hands up too, but I know Eric had mentioned in the chat if because the taps are in the wall, is that a walk-in cooler behind you? Like not the cooler that's behind you that's got the cans, but there's a door that obviously would lead to the.
Yeah, that's my storage space. I just have a upright freezer that I have my kegs in. So I cut a hole in the wall and it's just sandwiched tight with a good seal around it so that the taps go into the fridge.
Nice, nice. David, you had a question? Mr. LaRock?
Yes, I'm looking at all this, and you got to walk me through this whole hand bombing of wastewater. So, are you just filling buckets, and are you dumping it in like your bathtub inside, or yeah, like how does that work?
Well, most of the water, like there's not that much waste. Like I'll probably have like on a brew day, 2 5-gallon pails of wastewater. That's like the kettle trub. Or actually no, that gets separated. The trub also goes to the farm. Same with my yeast dump. He just throws it in his compost. But just all the dirty water, I don't want that all over my yard. You get like hot particles everywhere. So that on brew day, I'll probably have 2 pails of like wort. That's a mixture of wort and water, because I just keep filling the pail, and I'll just carry it and dump it in the toilet because it's so it's not a lot on brew day. And then I'll probably have another 5-gallon pail that I got to carry in on the when I clean the fermenter. So it's like the size that I have right now, it's easy to pick them up and just let them drain into a pail. I know that I got the larger ones now, I can't pick those up now. So it's just a matter of running a pump it into a pail and then carry it into the house.
Okay. So we also had questions coming in. They're all coming in on the chat now. So which is good. Mark actually asked if your beer makes it to any of the bottle shops in Toronto. I know the answer to this, but go ahead.
One beer did made it to Toronto Brewing, their bottle shop, my barley wine. So they Justin there, he's a feller hoser, and he said, hey, it's we like the barley. Like I had that in our Advent exchange. He said we'd like to put it in the store, and so he only took 12 cans as a trial. And he said if it sells really well, we'll probably ask for more. So I guess it didn't sell as great or as quickly. I don't know. I didn't get any feedback, and they never called me back for more beer. So
interesting. I think I mean, obviously, it's like I said, it looks like it's more. It intrigues. Obviously, it intrigues me, but it intrigues, I'm sure, all the other members on the call. But I'm sure that your neighbors are probably think this is awesome. I mean, I think most neighbors would. I mean, they'd be like, oh, I could just go next door and see Steven and then buy a couple cans, and I don't have to think about driving to the beer store or the liquor store, and it's good beer and I like what I'm getting, that type of stuff, right? Have you had any neighbors who have been annoyed, or who've been kind of like I'm trying to think of a nosy neighbor, Gladys Kravitz from Bewitched, and I'm dating myself by saying that, but who's kind of said, well, what's he doing over there? He shouldn't be doing that.
I haven't heard. Nobody's approached me. So I've only heard great things. Like the people that are coming through the door, they love my beer. The tons of repeat customers, and nobody's said anything negatively about just having a brewery open in the neighborhood. The township hasn't talked to me saying, hey, we got concerns. or complaints. So the general feel is just like everybody likes the idea. They think it's
Nice.
pretty neat. It's unique kind of thing.
Nice.
Like it's when it goes to like people coming through the door, I guess we talk to beer styles, like what do I like to make kind of thing. And I make a variety of beers. I like all beers. Well, not all of them. It's like there's certain ones that I'm not a big sour fan, but I can appreciate them. But I'm not a fan of flavored beers. I did one just recently. Whenever I do flavored beers, they're just, the flavor's there. It's not smack you in the face. Like I'm not a pecan pie, cucumber, whatever. I'll never get on that bandwagon. It's just absolute crap as far as I'm concerned. I want my beer to be beer. And the people that come through the door, like just last weekend, I had a lady come in, or a young woman, sorry. She says, I love your beer. It's great. I love coming here because it's beer. You don't have any of this funky stuff, the slushy, whatever, seltzer, BS and it's not ridiculously like there's one friend of my family. She's from Atlanta. She loves coming up to Canada to visit. And she says the craft beers down there, everything's ridiculously high. It's like minimum 7% seems is the new standard. And you can't get anything 5% or lower down there. So it's people want beer. I find they want normal straight beer. And because I don't have to, this is a labor of love. It's like I'm not making money. it's paying for itself, but if any of you wanted to try this, you're not going to make money. Like you have to scale up. At this size, it's just you do it because you love it.
Yeah. I know I know Attila, you've got a question, but I see people asking about supporting you and ordering. Have you ever thought of, or do you do any delivery, or not yourself obviously, but or have you got something set up where people can order and online and they can go get the beer delivered?
I have nothing set up right now. I'm not saying a no to that idea. It's, again, part of it is I know I'm just letting this grow as is. I'm not promoting it that much. I really, because I'm selling enough that I can maintain at my level, I have to find the balance where it's like, okay, if I add on ordering, then I might just get swamped with a lot of people that can't get here. And then I'll sell out, and then the people that come to the door, I got nothing for them. So I'm just letting things grow as people come through the door. I have approached a couple of restaurants, but then again, that's why I got these extra tanks so I can double my capacity. And it's all finding that balance of being able to still be able to make money at my day job and fit this in. I think it would be great because I know there's a ton of people that I know that can't get here that want to try the beer. So like shipping it out would be a great thing. I've done it for personal friends, but I won't be just opening up the door. And part of also that is I can't pay anybody to do this. I got to do it myself. So I'd still have to invest the time to set up the online ordering, and that adds a lot more work to already a busy operation.
Yep. Attila, you had a question?
Yeah. Just wondering, so when you're finished doing your like fermentation, you put it into like, I guess, corny kegs and then put them in your cooler, and then you go with that. Like, is that how you sort of do the canning? Take your cornies out, or do you go straight from the?
I fill, because my tanks are unit tanks, so
Okay.
they're it's all one vessel. Everything's done in like fermented, cold crashed, and then carbonated, and then I can directly from the tank.
Okay, so you don't transfer things over and put it into your cooler. like the one behind you, the big, not the one, not the can cooler. I mean, the walk-in cooler. How big is your walk-in cooler? Is it
Oh,
fair size?
it's not a walk-in cooler.
Oh,
It's just
okay.
a fridge. So
Okay.
to keep a rotation on my taps,
Okay.
what I'll do is I'll fill one corny keg, and then I'll put it in the fridge, and then I'll can the rest, and that all goes in the fridge behind me.
Okay.
Sale. And then when I have another beer, it's like I'll go back to the fridge that I had a corny keg. If there's any still left that I didn't sell in growlers, I'll put those into cans just so that I got another variety on tap. So it's people coming in. Growler sales are very low. It's more like I drink more of the beer off the taps than anybody coming in the door. Growler.
Yeah.
It's the kind of rule that I had just like with my friends and any family that comes over. It's help yourself. It's like anything on the tap, help yourself. But if you want beer to go, you got to pay for it. That's so they'll buy a pack or 12, but when they're here, drink as much as you want, as long as you can still drive. Kind of thing.
I think we should all get together and go for a road trip and check out, your brewery and buy. I don't mean to go and drink all the beer. I mean just to go check it out and pick some up, because honestly, the way you're talking, you got a lot of work ahead of you. You're doing like David was saying, like you're hauling your water in. It's like a lot of physical labor. Like that's a lot of work, man. My hat's off to you. You're trying to do it, but good for you.
I think it's interesting. I was going to ask a question, Stephen. I know that there's probably other people on the call who still want to ask questions, but I was really interested in the balance, how you balance yourself, and by that I mean, you're a single parent, you got your own HVAC business, and now you have this as well. Like, how are you finding balance? How are you finding time for yourself? How are you finding, where you finding yourself centered and I guess peace, that type of stuff?
You're asking it at probably the worst time. When I started, everything was just flowing fine. Even though like during the summertime, it's like my HVAC air conditioning season's the busiest, but now everything is, I feel like I'm just scrambling, trying to do stuff. It's trying to find not try to find, it's like scheduling my beer time or brewing time. And then, okay, people are calling me. I got like today, my schedule got thrown in. Like I was supposed to brew, but I got a call for somebody had no heat. So, okay, I can't brew because somebody needs heat. So then it's like, then I'm trying to rejuggle my schedule. So most of the time, everything lined up, but just in the last month, it just seems a progress of I'm just running through the hoops kind of thing, trying to make it go. Part of it is also getting the new tanks. It's like I've added on the expansion. So once maybe I'm just kidding myself, but once I get that up and running, I'll be able to pull out more volume, and then I can step away from brew days for like a couple weeks. And because I just filled the whole fridge up and I'm not selling enough, or it's not selling fast enough, that I got tons of beer there. I don't have to be in here as much.
Interesting.
Family life though, really, like it's hard. So I do have a lot of support from other family helping me, but at the same time, I can step away from stuff, like because I am my own boss. It's like I have taken a day. Like my daughter had a bad day, so it's like let's just have a daddy-daughter day, and I just drop everything. It doesn't matter HVAC or brewing. It's just the two of us just went out.
Nice.
So it's just probably should be doing more of that, but
But you find a way, obviously. I mean, because clearly you do, right? I mean, which is a good thing. Does anybody else have any other questions for Stephen?
Yeah, actually, another question. So when things get back in order again, like, summer's starting to come in and all this COVID's let up, what are your plans? Like, when will you be sort of open? Like on weekends, during the week? Like, what's your sort of vision on being open? Like evenings, daytimes, Tuesdays or Thursdays, or what do you sort of envision? So somebody, let's say, want to go and pick some beer up, they can say, you know what, I went by there, but he was closed whatever day. So I'm just wondering what your sort of vision will be for when normal things happen.
Um, my present schedule that I have for hours is to um, Friday after 3:30, because that's when I pick my daughter up for school, and then 3:30 to 8, so I can get into people that might work till 6 or whatever, don't get home till late. I got hours till then. And then Saturday, Sundays, 12 to 6. That's been pretty much standard since I opened. It fluctuated a little bit here and there. Going forward, I may be open later, or add a Thursday or something like that. But I don't want to have to keep telling people my hours are changing all the time, so I try to stick to those. And then, because everyone that has come in knows that this is just a home-based business, it's just something on the side. I'm going on vacation, I'm taking like, we got family day coming up. I might take an extra day off on the weekend or something. I don't know. I'll just say I'm closed, because it's like, this isn't my money maker. It's like, I don't have to be open. It's, people understand that. One other thing that I do have to local people, at least, that are driving by, is if I'm brewing during the week or canning during the week, I'll throw the open sign up. And if you drive by and say, see the door that I swing out, storefront's there, come on in. I'm here, kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because like, I mean, then you can say, you know what, I think he's open on weekends, so I'll make a trip over on the weekends. Like, it's fine. I'm just wondering what your sort of little niche is, so people can say, hey, you know what, let's go check it out. And I know he's open on, let's say, the weekends, which is fine. And that way you can build in the schedules, because I come from far away too, and I don't want to show up there. It's like, the damn door's closed. You know what I mean? So that's cool. Good for you.
Any other questions for Stephen? What's on tap, Stephen?
I have
You want free beer, don't you? You want free
No.
beer.
No, I'm just curious. I can't get there, so I'm just curious. What's on tap?
My stout, my barley wine, sour, my brown ale, IPA, and my white stout, the coffee stout.
Nice. Rob had a question coming in the chat here. You mentioned that at this scale, it isn't a big money maker. What's your estimated break point in production volume to make that your revenue stream?
I think I have to be producing, if I'm selling strictly in cans, don't quote me on this. I got 4 or 5. I think 1,600 liters I have to sell every month I could quit my day job, but I wouldn't be making great money. I'd be making less, but I could still survive off of.
Interesting.
I think that's the number that I worked out. So right now, I'm at best, if I sell everything that I can make, it's 500 liters. So I got to do more than triple the amount so that's a lot of brewing on this side. Even like, okay, I'm doubling my kettle size coming in. So then I'm brewing 8 times a month, let's say. Yeah, 8 times a month. Or 8 batches a month at my present course. So once I increase my kettle size, it'll be 4 times. It's half a month. So.
Wow.
And also, part of the thing about pricing, I have flat rate pricing. All my beers are $3.98 plus HST. whether it's a high percent alcohol or low, other than my barley wine, I do charge more for the barley wine. Most people are coming in for a variety, and it just equals out. Like at the volume I'm doing, even though an IPA costs me a lot more and I get less volume out of each batch, the time that I'm putting into it is more valuable than the actual dollars in ingredients at this size. So that's why I just flat rate across the board. And I'll give discounts for like 6 packs, 12s, 24, whatever. The more you buy, there's discounts for that.
So I know Ajit had a question about racking the beer straight from the fermenter. So he was asking about how do you avoid sediment, like if you're racking? And I know it's a unitank, so how are you avoiding the sediment?
Right here, hop strainer.
Ah, okay. And because of your size, Stephen, like I know there's been talk even at larger brewery levels that they've had trouble with aluminum cans, especially during COVID and that type of stuff. So how have you been finding it in like when you've gone to get cans because of your size and how much you're canning? Have you noticed, like, I guess distributors or manufacturers or what have you have said, well, this guy's a small fish, we don't have to give him anything, sort of thing? Like, have you found any problems? Or
I haven't come across a problem yet. I ordered a pallet of cans before I opened, like long before I opened, just because I knew where I was going with it. And then when COVID, that was actually, I can't remember if that was before COVID or just as it happened. But then I heard, like, okay, there's can shortages of aluminum. So even though I still had a ton of cans and my estimated sales would take me a long time to go through them, I panicked and bought another pallet. It was good that I did at the time, because they said, because I buy black cans, it just looks better with my label. I get them from BSG, and they only had 2 pallets left. So I'm still working. I already went through that first pallet. I'm on the second, or halfway through the second, and I probably should call up again, because at the rate that I'm selling, it's not that big of a worry. I got some time left. So it's like, even if it takes a couple months, I probably got enough to last me easy, unless people just flood through the door.
Do you also go pick up your own grains and your cans from them, or do you get delivered?
I picked up my grains from BSG.
Okay, so you go pick them up.
I had been getting them from various other places. I get Bond Brewing in Hamilton, another homebrewer that's working out of his basement for a homebrew shop. I got a bunch when I first started from him. There's a Trainer's Bakery in Hamilton. They also sell malt. They're a bakery wholesaler, so I got some from them. And then I was also piggybacked my order a couple times with Brewers Blackbird in Ancaster. So I know the owners there. They said, "Oh yeah, we'll just add yours to our list when we put an order in, and away we go," kind of thing.
Yeah, but you generally go pick them up. It comes into either BSG or to another place. You have to go and get it and then bring it back to your place and deal with it.
Yeah, I'd always have to go get it.
Right. Okay.
But it's not too hard to go to Guelph. It was an easy trip. Yeah, it's the shipping. If I were to get it shipped, it's fairly costly. So even with gas prices today, it's still cheaper for me to pick it up, even factoring in my time to do it.
Interesting. Anybody else have any other questions for Stephen? Is that a no?
One quick question, just because it came up in the chat a little bit. Stephen, would you be okay if I corralled our membership and I don't know, could you maybe come up with maybe a 4 or 6 pack option, and then maybe one of us would come up and drive out to your brewery sometime and pick up an order for our club? Obviously, it depends on what you have in the fridge and the volume, but is that something you'd be open to?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
I believe if you go to my website, the latest list is up there. There might be a couple that aren't on there, like my brown ale or the white stout might not be on the list yet.
Great. So everyone, maybe I'll post in our Facebook group, just try to organize something, and we'll get the money together, and we'll be in touch.
Sure.
Always good to have some new beers and something new to try. Definitely, and I really like. I gotta say, I like that front door where you can just kind of. It's like a stealth storefront. You just drop the regular garage door down and nobody knows the difference, or sort of thing if they're
I think
driving
you
by.
need that for your brewery, David.
No. Mine's wide open. And mine's a little. Yeah, I'm just standing in my driveway. I don't even have a garage. So, Stephen, I just want to say thanks. I mean, if there's no other questions, on behalf of the club, thank you very much for coming out and giving us a presentation and talking to us about this. Incredibly interesting. Obviously, a lot of work. But if you're passionate enough about it, and clearly you are, you can move mountains. You can do just about anything, as long as you're not in Toronto or Hamilton. Right? So that's really cool.
I'm also sure that you'll find shortcuts as you go along, and good luck. Good luck, doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's a lot
Awesome.
of work.
Good story. Good story.
We'll have to come visit.
And I'm going to stop recording now.